Hello, welcome to the channel and welcome back to Resurwreck Autos HQ. So guys, it's freezing today, absolutely freezing, but got the fire going. I might have to get the other fire. I've got a propane heater, so I might have to get that in the middle as well, just to get some heat into the unit. But I have got the fire going. But we are working on this Ford Fiesta 1.4 today. Customer's car, a little bit of bread and butter work, and it is going to be the timing belt, water pump, auxiliary belt, and I think possibly going to be the cam cover gasket on these, because on these plastic cam covers they perish quite bad. This is a 2010, I think it is. So I've just got to check, because I'm taking the cam cover off, it's worth just replacing that gasket, because they leak, because the engine sits at an angle on these Ford Fiestas, and the oil is going to run at the back, or it's going to run into where the spark plugs sit. So yeah, we've got a little bit of work to do on this today. So I'm going to set you up, and let's get cracking with the timing belt and water pump. Let's do this. Right, okay, guys, well, I've started the process. As you can see, I like to remove the headlight just because it gives me better access to down there. There's loads of bits and pieces that's got to come off this car to get this done. I do like to do it this way now, where I remove the front air intake system. You remove that, you get good access to the starter motor, which is just below there, so you can get it from this side. And then you remove the starter motor to lock the flywheel on the bottom end. I just like to lock them. I'm going to remove this alternator as well. Just get that out of the way, and it just gives you really nice access to get all the other bits and pieces. But we are going to change the auxiliary belt on this one, and don't know how long it's been like it, but as you can see there, it's got a little bit of a rip in it. See it? So, yeah, that might have just happened. Yeah, you never know. I think he knows about that, because he did ask me to change the alternator belt. But, yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to put a new one on. Before I remove this belt, I have to undo those 4 bolts here, and that is the water pump pulley. So, if I unloosen these ones now, I normally use just it's 10 mil. Yeah, it's a 10 milli one. So I normally just hold like that, and then you can I think it's the bottom one you do first, and it holds it, and you can really get some leverage on it. It's going to turn. There you go. Look, so that one's done. And then as you turn it around, you can do the rest. But there you go. That one's done. It's easier to do it now because it's holding tension. It's holding tension on the pulley with this belt, so it's easier to just slacken these bolts off, so they're not nice and tight at this point. It's just, I'm used to doing this. I've done loads of these now, and it's just a procedure that I know you have to do in a certain order. Yeah, let's just crack on, strip it all down, and we'll get in there and get this one started for him. So yeah, let's do this. Right, okay. Well, guys, loads and loads of stripping down. Parts have had to come off. All because, really, I like to put that bar... Where's my torch? Let me get my torch. I like to put that locking bar there. You can just see it. And that goes, and there's a bar that goes inwards, and it goes onto the teeth of the flywheel. So that is a very, very good locking tool for the flywheel. But you'll also have to put a pin on the back of the engine, which is... it's just that one there, that black one there, you can see it. So you take this one out, 10mm bolt, you remove that, and then you put that locking pin on the back of the engine this side, and then what I do is I put a screwdriver inside the actual cylinder to get my top dead center, TDC, and then once you get the top dead center where you think it is, you take it back the other way, put the pin in, then crank the engine over with an 18mm socket on that, and then you turn the engine over until it goes click, and it'll click against that pin that's in there. And once you do that, the plate on the cams, this plate here, should just go and slot straight in with no problem, and you know, there's no knocking. It should just, it fits straight in. And that's exactly what happened. So that is the engine all locked up and timed. So now I can unbuzz this 18mm bolt there on the crank there. And then we're going to remove that crank pulley. It might come off easy. Sometimes they just come off and fly off. Other times you have to use a pulley tool, which I've got here. So you have to use one of these, and then that sort of, you know, you push that in, and that sort of brings the pulley out at the bottom. So that's the next stage. Once we get that done, then we can take this cover off. I've removed this. It's the engine mount bracket that goes to the actual engine. So that's all been unbolted, but it just needs to be, there's a couple more bolts down there I want to get off first, and the whole thing will come off in one go. And then we'll get access to the belt. Then we can remove the actual water pump here. Definitely the original. So I'm assuming that this is the original belt as well. So, yeah, and then we'll just swap it over for all the parts here. Got the timing belt kit here, Dayco timing belt kit. This is the cam cover gasket I was telling you about, because what happens is, and a new auxiliary belt there as well. So yeah, so what happens with this cam cover gasket, that is so solid. There's no, it should be rubber, but that is brittle, and it's just solid. And over here, this side, it's more or less, that rubber is more or less flush with that actual cam cover. So if I refit this one, I guarantee it within a few thousand miles, that'll be leaking oil. So for, I think it was £38 plus VAT, so 45 quid, it's worth changing it now, so he hasn't got to pay for labour and parts to get it changed once it starts to leak, because it will leak. They are prone. The engine is sitting at an angle like this. It's not straight, it's at an angle. So what happens is the back edge leaks first, over here, that leaks at the back, and the oil runs down onto the actual exhaust manifold and the heat shield and that sort of stuff, and it's just, yeah, it's just worth doing it now, 100%. So that is what we're going to do. So yeah, guys, let me set you back up. Let's keep going, and let's get this now, all these other bits and pieces off so we can see the actual belt. So let's do this. Right, okay. Well, guys, there we go. That is everything off, and water pump off that we need to get to. I always like to try and get a little bit of Scotch pad on that as well, just because sometimes it binds. I had to use that pulley to get the crank pulley off, so I know that it's tight. So I like to just like to clean that up a little bit, just so that it's easier to go back on. I've cleaned the face of the water pump here that sits around, so that's all nice and clean, ready to receive the new one. I've marked on these two cams as well, just to make sure that it won't move. It's absolutely locked. It's locked on the back of the cams, it's locked the flywheel, and I've pinned it as well. So it's not going to move, but I just like to make sure a couple of markings on there. Definitely the original belt, 100% original belt, because it's got, Formico written on there. A little bit worn, but it's age really with this one. So we're going to put a new one. That's the Daco kit that comes with all the water pump. And the belt and stuff is at the bottom, underneath there. So we're going to put all that new one back in place, and it's just a case of reverse really. I've got a new tensioner going on as well, so I ain't got to use this tensioner. That's the old water pump there, which still works, I've got to be honest, but it's always good practice to change the water pump with the timing belt. I just always think that anyway. So yeah, there we go. So now it's a case of reverse. Let's get the water pump on, then the new timing belt in, tensioner, get all that part of it set and sorted, and basically just do the reverse of what we've done and put it all back together. But it sounds pretty quick and easy, but it's not. It's a lot. I've stripped a lot of this down, and it's all been locked up. So we're going to change this belt, swap it all over, so it's good to go. Right. Let's get set back up. Let's do this. Right, okay. Well, guys, it's definitely going back together. Okay, yeah, slowly putting everything back together, but there's loads of parts. But we're getting there. Unfortunately, I've run out of time today. We're going to have to get back to this tomorrow. So this is part 1, and then you'll see part 2 tomorrow, where we're going to put it all back together and then turn the old key. Make sure that it's all good, runs well. I'm sure it does. I don't, you know, I've only had one or two problems in the past, but most of the time, 95% of them, they just go back and start up first time. So yeah, there we go. That is part 1 done on this one. So I'll see you guys tomorrow in part 2. Don't forget, drop me a comment. Let me know down below. Give the video a thumbs up, guys. And I'll see you tomorrow in part 2. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.